So our 850D dozer made it home the other day. I'll put a little clip of it getting unloaded. Deb was home when it showed up, so she was able to film it a little bit.
I don't think so. I think it's fine.
So while we're waiting for parts on the 850B track loader, I'm gonna see if I can get this 850D dozer running. Now, we weren't able to get it started when it was down at previous owner's place because we weren't getting fuel through the injection pump. I did tinker around with a little bit after it was dropped off. So I believe this engine's probably no good. I think there was straight water in it and it froze. I don't see any cracks anywhere, but these frost plugs are pushed out. And there was a bunch of ice down in the filter housing, and the oil cooler is bulged out. 2 good batteries in it, and a new end on the positive. So we got fuel all the way up into the top of the pump. That's a good sign. Thinking maybe we'll crack these injector lines and we'll see if we can bleed the pump. So I didn't have any luck getting anything out of the pump, so I'm working on pulling it off. I got the nut off the front. There were only 2 of the 3 nuts holding the pump on, and then there's supposed to be one on the support bracket that wasn't in either. I got all the lines off the back. We're ready to slide it out. The only thing we got to be careful of now is making sure we don't drop the key into the gear case. Come on. This is how not to do this. There we go. Come on out, pump. What do we got? Wait. Is there a solenoid on the bottom of this? Did I just pull this for no reason? So this is how dumb I am. On the bottom of the pump is the solenoid. The shut-off solenoid. I was wondering why there wasn't a rod hooked up to the shut-off on the top of the pump. And then I thought maybe it's done through the through the throttle. So I wasn't turning the key on, but I didn't think anything of it because it was cranking. See that? Probably help if I was energizing that. So I think I pulled the injection pump for no reason at all. I guess I'll put it back on and try this again. Frustrating. So I think I got it figured out. That solenoid, for our reason, is dropping out. See, we're getting fuel out of it now. I can give it a whiff of starting fluid to see if we can help it. All right, there's one with fuel. All right, it's gonna run. So I got the blade propped up. This belly pan is full of water. Not looking forward to that. So my plan is to drop the belly pans, pull the drain plug, get all the oil out of it, and then fill the radiator up with water and see if anything's going down into the crankcase out of the drain plug. Packed solid. This out of the way. Sweet. Probably should put a bucket under that so I'm not laying in water. But I'm not that smart. Oh yeah, there's quite a bit there. So I changed my plan here a little bit. I'm just gonna pull this drain plug. See, we got a milkshake in there. Uh-oh. Don't overfill. Let this drain for a little bit. I'll get the water hose over and we'll see if it comes out of there. If it don't, we're gonna put oil back in it and run it. Of course, it's starting to rain now. So I don't see anything coming out of the drain plug there. Full all the way to the top here with just hose water. I hear it leaking up here. All I see is oil coming out of the drain plug. Thinking I put oil back in it and run it. Oil is good enough. We still got pressure on the tester. Let's fight to get this off and get the cap back on. There we go. Whew. There we go. That fits a lot better now. Close her up. Let's fire it up. Master switch down there, and then starters on the front on these. I'm guessing there's probably something up with the thermostat. I don't think it opened. Maybe we have no flow. So let it cool off. And yeah, she's hot. Probably backflush the radiator because it had no cap on it. I'm sure there's all kinds of debris in there. I knew there was something blocking the flow. Oh, that's where the thermostat is, right there. That could have been our problem altogether, though. Let's see. Gotta remove the serpentine belt and then this alternator. Oh. A little bit of crud there, ain't there? Oh, man. Not looking that great in there, is it? So I spent some time with this coolant flush gun blowing back through. I can't get much flow. So I rotted out a couple of the tubes I could reach with this fish tape with the end cut off. At this point, I think I'm just gonna put it back together and run it and see how it does. You know, maybe a couple of heat cycles will help free some stuff up. Another couple weeks have gone by. I did get some parts for this. We got some cutting edge. I got a piece of flat stock that I have to weld on because they wore the bolt holes off for the plow bolts that mount the cutting edge. I got a couple track pads. Gotta see what we're gonna do about trying to get some of these broken bolts out of this master link. This link should be no problem. And we're gonna make a couple of hoses up front here. I don't know if I recorded it before, but I did braze that one steel line back together, and I ran the machine a little bit. Seems to be all right. We have to straighten out this this guard that goes over the top, but in order to do that, we have to get all these lines off and then pick it up through the lines. So I think I'm going to go make a couple hoses for this. I'll start by taking some of these off. I also got this nylon sleeve, kind of like what was on here before, and the hoses all go inside of this. This junk. This one. I guess I'll see if I can straighten this thing out somehow. Got these hoses made up the other night. Gonna pop them all off this side. I marked the plate that guards all the cylinders and hoses down here. I marked everything so I could just pop it off and stick the plate on and then stick the hoses back on. I ran a tap down through all these holes that hold that guard on. Spent probably a good hour and a half pressing this plate back together. I put on the 75-ton dake, got it all straightened out, welded the rip they had in it from putting chains and stuff on it. So I'm going to pull these off. I'll slip that nylon hose dealie on, and then stick this blade guard on. Hopefully everything lines up like it should. I'm questioning the crimps on these hoses. I guess I'll know real quick when I put pressure to it and see if they blow off. Doing any kind of track work or anything where you got two painted surfaces, you always want to remove the paint because this stuff will loosen up. Behind this side panel is all the linkages for the blade controls. This stuff's all a little stiff, probably hasn't been greased in forever. So we're going to give it all a little lubrication. So these lines are all leaking. They were Weatherhead fittings, not Parker 43 series like my crimper's for. So I did have these laying around. So I guess I get to swap all these. I'll just cut the ends off and throw them out. I'm only out like, I guess 60 bucks. But you can see they were just sitting here and you could watch oil and air come out of them every so often. I'm ready to take this blade off so I can work on the cutting edge repair a little easier. We're gonna blow all these bolts off here and on the other side. Then we have to mess with the tilt cylinder. So I think for me to get to these bolts down here, I gotta tilt all the way down, pull those couple of bolts, and then I can level it out again, and then we'll have to swing this cylinder out of the way. Use the machine, it gets a little worn out. You can pull some of these shims and it'll take some of the slop out of the blade. Now I'm gonna pull this pin, hopefully. So now you guys can see, pretty easy to take apart. All that does is slide in there. Winner. These are plow bolts. It's just square shank that goes into the hole there, so it'll hold itself. See, there's 3 more holes there. That might go somewhere. So I just used the old quarter bits to clamp this flat stock on here, and I'm just going to scribe the ends here, and then this, I have it also, it'll just drop right down. So I figure that's the least amount of cutting and grinding to do this. So I'll just go around all this with the soapstone, and then I'll cut this off with a torch. So I got the first pass all burned in there. I'm going to flip the blade upside down, switch to a bigger rod, and fill it all the way out. I've had enough. I've been at this probably 5 hours. Scabbed on a bunch of little pieces to brace the bottom. I gotta flip it over and probably weld a couple more spots on the front where I had the braces, and then we can drill the holes and bolt the cutting edge on, and we can call this done. I don't ever want to have to do this again. So replace your cutting edge often. Don't let it wear down too far that you end up in a situation like this. Mag drill didn't work, so got all these holes torched for the bolts. I just got to clean them up with the die grinder. Got the cutting edge on, bolted down tight. Everything looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. I got to push it in a little bit and go right. So we'll try these 2 thick shims. Never sees on the bolts. I don't see myself getting anywhere with these. Somebody's already tried drilling this and they decided, I think, to weld back over it. So I'm probably going to end up having to do the same thing. I don't see it cleaning up and having good threads there. So I think I'll just burn the pad on. So I just ran around a little bit. It's still getting hot. I tried flushing the core out more. I can't get anything out of it, so I'm gonna have to pull the top tank and rot it out, I believe. And then this cylinder started to leak, which I was expecting. So I'll probably rebuild both lift arm cylinders. That's what happens when you get a machine like this that's been sitting for years. You gotta keep getting all the bugs out of it. Because I got no flow through this core, I'm going to try to remove it, pull the top tank, and rot it out. I think they were just running water in it and got some debris in it. They ran it without a cap, or they pulled the cap off of it. I guess they were looking for a cap because almost everything was missing a radiator cap. One brace. Whew. That was almost my head. So rigged up with the forklift, it should come right out. Got it cleaned up somewhat with the pressure washer. All the bolts are out of the top tank. I'm ready to pull it off. I think I can just twist it. Yeah, that's what I thought. See, all these tubes are clogged with rust. Guess I'll get the compressor over here and start blowing some of this off and then work on rotting out each tube. So I got some picks, and this is a wire snake. I just cut the end off. That should get down into So I spent probably 2 hours rotting out all these tubes, and I think we're doing all right. There might be maybe 15 that are still blocked. I think it's 1,000 times better than it was before. This wouldn't even flow through it. It would just build pressure. So I think I'll blow some air through it a few more times, and then feel like I can put this back together. And top off the cooling system, see if we have any leaks before I put the rest of this back together. Everything seems okay. I'm gonna go running around a little bit, get it hot. So I ran the dozer around a little bit last night. Our cooling issue seems to be solved. Once we got that core cleaned out, runs nice and cool. Probably put about 40 minutes on it. Next thing I need to address is these lift cylinders starting to leak. You can see the wipers out of it, and it's just pouring fluid out. So it definitely needs a set of seals. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the bottom pins, retract the cylinder, and rotate the barrel so that I can clear the blade. I'll put these hoses into a bucket, and then I already got the gland broken free on both sides. Then we can pull the rod and piston out, put new seals on it, slide it back together, and just reverse the process. So we gotta start by getting these C-clips off the end of the pin. Then I got a pin hammer. Wasn't bad at all. Then we'll fire the machine up and we can retract this rod. Let's do the other side real quick. Got some plastic caps on there to stop that from leaking. Now on these cylinders they use a little screw to lock the gland to the barrel, and it broke off on both sides trying to get them out. We're doing it. Oh, jeez. Me and hydraulic oil just don't get along. So I just cleaned up the inside edge of the barrel. There's a couple little burrs, and you want to make sure that the seals aren't going to tear across that. I didn't record putting seals on the cylinder. I figured you guys could go, if you want to see that, you can go watch the other 850 video with the loader. I cleaned up the grease fitting around the rod eye. There we go. Went in there pretty nice. Gland screwing in nice. Water temp stayed nice and cool, definitely fixed. So I got the alternator on, charging system's all working. Let's take these side panels off. I'm going to change the belt and then we'll run around a little bit. Hang on. Let's see. Got it. All right, well, I think it's safe to say that's a wrap on this thing. It's a fully functioning dozer now. I think it'll be fairly dependable. Probably gonna have to repack a couple cylinders in the future on it, do hoses. That's normal stuff you would expect on a machine like this that's been sitting for a while. Yeah, this one's done. I got a few other projects to work on. Probably have to get back on that 850B track loader. The torque converter seal went on that, so that'll be a little bit of a project to change that out. Never done one before, but I'm about to find out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, getting this machine back operating. Check out some of the previous videos I've done, like the 311 excavator and the cable shovel rescues and stuff like that. Time to get on to the next project.